Jeff, I want to revisit the 2022 NFL Draft. The Lions had pick number 2 and number 32. And before the draft, the conversation would be, hey, you know what? Who are you taking at 2? Is it likely the edge rusher? We talked about drafting the cocaine. It was edge all day. You didn't care who.
Nope.
And then suddenly, somehow, someway, Aidan Hutchinson wasn't selected number 1 overall. It was Trayvon Walker. He fell right into your lap. You took him. You trade up 20 spots for essentially a third-round pick. And you get Jameson Williams, who going into that draft was the best receiver. Had he not torn his ACL, which is a factor, he would have been the first receiver off the board, not Garrett Wilson. Having said that.
Where's Drake London?
Drake London, excuse me. Having said that, it is official. The Lions' current draft, A+.
Oh, yeah.
And we gave it an A+ right after, and everyone's like, you can't give it an A+. You haven't even seen them play. Well, you're just speculating. It's not fair. How do you know? How do you know? Defensive Player of the Week this week. He's had 2 interceptions in his last 3 games. He leads all rookies in sacks. He's up there in terms of interceptions. He's the best defensive rookie this year outside of Sauce Gardner.
Yep.
And you can now make the case for him. Guys, the evidence is in front of you. You can disagree with a lot of what Brad Holmes has done. That's fine. That's your right. He's nailed these draft picks. He hasn't missed in the first round yet. And you get Jameson Williams back now in 2 weeks, hopefully. Next, not this Sunday, but the following against Jacksonville.
Right.
Watch out. Watch out. Because if he takes it by storm and he has a 4-game stretch where he has 30 receptions or 28 receptions for 350, 400 yards, oh my goodness. Kool-Aid? You think people are going to be drinking Kool-Aid? They're going to be coming to the studio and doing cocaine with me.
Okay, well.
Hutch and J-Mo were the first-round picks. You're going to get to see J-Mo these next few weeks.
Yep.
That is very exciting. We know what he can bring to the table. We've discussed it before. But looking back at this draft, Jeff, could it have gone any better? Because I was told Malik Willis and Kyle Hamilton should be picks 1 and 2. Right? They should have taken 2nd overall. Kyle Hamilton, because he's the next Ed Reed. We should have taken Malik Willis because, boy, he's the best quarterback prospect in the whole NFL draft. 3rd-round pick. Bust. Can't even get a handoff to Derrick Henry. Fucking loser. Kyle Hamilton, Mr. Ed Reed.
He's a project.
I don't know. Kirby Joseph right now looks more like Ed Reed than Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah.
Because last I checked, he's the one ball hawking and getting 3 interceptions.
And he's got 2 forced
And
fumbles.
last I checked, Kyle Hamilton plays in a secondary that is loaded. And he is in there situationally in Baltimore. He's not their number 1 de facto guy.
Yeah, Kirby's playing a lot of snaps.
So
he's out there a lot.
Last I checked.
Could
be wrong.
One thing I always love that Sean Payton always says is when you're looking at your roster and you're evaluating your roster, when you look at guys like Aidan, Kirby, and even Jameson when he comes back, you ask yourselves, or Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes asks themselves, is this player going to be a part of this team when we're winning a Super Bowl? That's the question you always ask when you're looking at these young players. And seeing Aidan, seeing Kirby, what you expect out of Jameson, those are guys, in my opinion, that are going to be here when the Lions are at least trying to get to a Super Bowl. I'm not going to sit here and say they will, but you get the point. You look at these guys, are they a part of your future? And to have Aidan, Kirby, even Josh Pascal, he's still a serviceable starter, a guy that can play a ton of snaps for you. I know he hasn't been healthy, but when he's played, you've seen the impact he has, drawing double teams. So Aleem McNeil, another one you took in the previous draft. So there's a lot to look forward to with Brad Holmes and the selections he's had. He's gotten a handful of guys that are going to be here for the future. And this has always been the biggest difference with the Lions compared to past GMs. And this is why people call Brad, the best general manager, even though he hasn't really went through a free agency class yet and spent significant money. The reason for that, and you look around the NFL, good organizations draft well. The fact that the NFL allows you to turn around your team so quickly, it really starts in the draft because you can draft young players that can make an impact right away. And to have Bob Quinn, it's night and day from Brad Holmes. And Bob Quinn actually found some good players, but he found a lot of buzz. And that's the difference with Brad Holmes. It seems like he's making the most out of his picks early. Like you said earlier, Aidan Hutchinson, Jameson Williams, Kirby in the 3rd round, which is funny because the Colts took Nick Cross right before Kirby. So the fact that he fell and they were able to get him. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brad wanted him so bad, wanted to trade up for him. He fell right into his lap. Like, good general managers get talent. And if you have good coaching, they maximize that talent. And to give credit to Dan Campbell and the rest of the coaching staff, AG, Ben Johnson, even Hank Fraley, those guys are getting the most. Deuce Staley's another one, getting the most out of what you have. So, again, credit to those guys. And the biggest difference is having a good general manager, someone who can identify talent. And I think these guys in this draft class, in last draft class, Penei Sewell, Ali McNeil, these guys are going to be here for the future, long term, when you're getting into the playoffs. So Brad Holmes did his job.
Brad Holmes has done his job. He's acquired the talent, and now you're seeing the talent step up and play in a way that is inspiring. It is inspiring to see the way Kirby Joseph has played. It is inspiring to see the way Aidan Hutchinson has played. Malcolm Rodriguez has played.
Yep.
Ali McNeil has played. Derek Barnes at times has played. Amon-Ra St. Brown has played. Penei Sewell have played. You're winning these drafts. Guys, look, I know you think it's funny and I love to come up here every morning, and I'm here to tell you the truth about what I believe to be not only the truth, but my opinion on your sports teams in Detroit. That is my job, and also I do enjoy making you guys laugh and having a good time, and us really kind of developing that chemistry, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, but I know you laughed about the cocaine stuff, and it was funny, and it was cool, and oh my God, it's funny. I was being serious, though. What are the four most important positions in football, Jeff?
Quarterback?
Left tackle.
Well, yeah, left tackle, quarterback,
wide receiver,
edge rusher,
pass rusher.
Yep.
Can you remind me what 3 of his 4 first-round picks have been? Or, excuse me, what all 3 of his picks have been? Left tackle.
Yeah, Penei Sewell.
Wide receiver. Pass rusher. What do you know?
And he's doubled down on those pass rushers, too.
This guy is not fucking around. And all my optimism for all of you before the season, before they ever started 1-6, was because of those moves. Because it was the blueprint that's working in the NFL. And yes, you wouldn't have Jameson for a majority of the year, but the intention, the quality, the prospect, it's there. It makes sense. And you walked out of that draft potentially with the best offensive and defensive player going into it.
And what frustrates me? People say, well, Penei fell right into his lap. Aidan fell right into his lap.
I've seen Aaron Donald fall into the Lions' lap, and they took Eric goddamn Ebron.
Thank you. Just because they fall into your lap, you still got to get the pick right. That's why I give Troy Weaver the credit.
I've seen Justin Herbert
for getting Cade and Jay Knight.
I've seen Justin Herbert fall into the lap of Detroit, Miami, the Jets.
Yep.
Nobody took him. I seen Jamar Chase fall into the lap of Atlanta.
I've seen Patrick Mahomes fall in the lap of Chicago.
And they took Kyle Pitts at number 3 overall.
Yeah.
And then it was Chase who went 4. Who looks dumb now?
So just because they fall into your lap, you still got to get that decision correct. And Brad has done that. So, again, you give credit where it's due. Just because Aidan fell into his lap doesn't mean he could have taken Kayvon Thibodeau.
I've seen GMs make the wrong decision year after year after year after year. Vikings had Jefferson fall into their lap. Absolutely, Rob. That is a great point.
So we're just not going to give the
Beckham,
Vikings...
Adrian Peterson fell to 7.
We're just not going to give the Vikings credit for drafting Justin Jefferson?
No, that's his point.
No, I know.
But
I get where you're...
yes,
you give them credit. Yeah.
Your job is to make the right pick.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the Eagles... Jefferson fell right into their lap, and they took Jalen Reagor.
How do you fast track your team's success? You hit the first round picks.
Right.
How do you build a contender right away? You hit on rounds 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever it is. Brad Holmes is doing it. Brad Holmes is doing it. Chase went 5, Pitts went 4. Thank you for correcting me on that one, because the quarterbacks went 1, 2, and 3, and then it was Pitts 4, Chase 5, Waddle 6. Thank you so much, Richard. Appreciate it. But yes, that's the point. That is the point this morning. And I hope you all understand now. We can all get on the same page. Once Jameson Williams comes back, tell me more about how talentless this roster is and how injured they are. Because everybody in the league is dealing with injuries. The Titans have way more injuries to their significant players than you do. So I don't want to hear the excuses. And yes, I was a complete ass when they were 1-6. Too bad. Don't be 1-6. In a year where we expect you to win 7, 8, dare I say 9 games. with that schedule you had early. You don't get to tell me, well, if they're not experienced, then they need time. Shut the fuck up.
Seattle's rookies didn't
They
need
don't
time.
need time. They don't need time.
Yeah.
You coach them correctly and they deliver. And that's what they've been doing now these last 3 weeks. And that's why they get all the credit in the world for the turnaround. And no, the turnaround isn't complete. But they're so much further along now than they were 3 weeks ago, and they deserve a ton of credit for that. They really do. But I don't want to hear, well, when they were 1-6, you were mean. Oh my God. Shut up. Don't start 1-6 with a team that everybody knows is better than their record.
Right.
Cut the crap.
Not world beaters, but they're better than their record.
They're much better than their record was at the time. They were way better than 1-6.
They were, yeah.
And they were losing because of poor coaching decisions and untimely plays. That's why.
Yep.
Oh, you just blame Dan for everything. Like he gets criticized, he's going to get all the praise now after these 3 weeks.
Goes both ways.
It works both ways. That's why he's the first guy outside of the owner to lift the Lombardi at the end of the year.